to come from Mr. Mwemba Malambo, who is Magoye Member of Parliament, and he wants to ask the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation in A, whether the government has any plans to construct a dam on Magoye River in Mwanachingwala Chiefdom in Magoye Parliamentary constituency, in B, if so, when the plans will be implemented, in C, what the cost of the project is, and in D, if there are no such plans, why?
So Kasama Central Member of Parliament, Ms. Wangile Mwamba, will also pose a question on the floor of the House. Her question will be directed to the Minister of Agriculture, and she wants to find out how many farming blocks there were in Kasama District as of June 2024, and she further wants to find out how many were operational as of June 2024. That's a question from Kasama Member of Parliament, Ms. Wangile Mwamba.
And Lobezi Member of Parliament, Mr. Raphael Mavenga, is expected to direct his question to the Minister of Transport and Logistics. In A, he wants to know whether the government has any plans to train public service vehicle drivers in defensive driving so as to reduce carnage. In B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. And C, what other measures are being taken to enhance adherence to road traffic rules and regulations by public service vehicle drivers.
Question 270 will be posed by Chadiza Member of Parliament, Mr. Daka. That question goes to the Minister of Agriculture. He wants to find out whether the government is aware that the Tobacco Board of Zambia TBZ land in Chadiza Parliamentary constituency has been encroached upon. He also wants to find out whether the government is aware that some squatters on the TBZ land have been selling portions of the land. And he also wants to know, if so, what measures are being taken to reclaim and protect the land from encroachment.
And the last question, question 271, is expected to be asked by Mr. Chinga Miyutu, who is Kalabo Central Member of Parliament, and his question will be directed to the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. He wants to know how many recognized chiefs there were in Western Province as of December 2024. In B, how many chiefs, if any, were not recognized as of December 2024. And in C, why the chiefs that are not recognized are not there, and then in D, whether chiefs are paid a salary.
Okay, so those are basically the questions that we expect the House to consider today, and they'll be considered under Standing Order number 80. They are of an ordinary nature. After that, we expect the House to continue debating the motion of thanks. You recall that this is a motion that was moved on 4th March 2025 by Kanchibia Member of Parliament, Mr. Sande Chanda, and it's a motion of thanks, the President's address, that the thanks of this Assembly be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in the President's address. So we expect debate to continue on this very important motion. Then after that, that will be the end of business in the House. So we can only hope that you, our dear listeners, will keep us company, enjoy watching Parliament TV, and of course learn one or two things. So right now, we'll leave you in the chamber for the...
Honorable Members of Parliament, Madam Speaker. Yeah.
And the sing of Zambia, proud and free, land of work and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for our right. We want freedom's fight, oh, one, strong and free. Africa is our own motherland, fashioned with and blessed by those to blend. Let us all our people join as one, brothers under the sun, oh, one, strong and free. One land and one nation is our cry. Dignity and peace in Zambia's sky. Like a noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee, O one, strong and free. Praise be to God, praise be, bless our great Zambia, Zambia, Zambia. Remain we stand under the flag of our land, Zambia, praise to thee, O one, strong and free.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you've committed to our charge. Amen. Honorable members, I have 3 announcements to make. The first one, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of councillors from Kafue Town Council in Kafue District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may be seated. Honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of visitors from Standing Up for the Boy Child Initiative Zambia in Lusaka District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may be seated. And the last announcement, honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of visitors from Reformed Church in Zambia, Lusaka District. Order. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may be seated. Business statement, the acting leader of government business.
Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that the House Business Committee met on Thursday, 20th March 2025 to determine and schedule business of the House for the period 25th March to 28th March 2025. Madam Speaker, the House Business Committee resolved to lay before the House the following business for consideration next week. A, announcements. The Honorable Speaker may make announcements if there will be any. B, rulings. The Honorable Speaker will render rulings if there will be any. C, ministerial statements. Honorable ministers will render ministerial statements on topical issues if there will be any. D, notice of motion. Name of honorable member moving the motion, Minister of Justice. Subject for consideration, authorize the President to bring into effect the revised edition of the laws of Zambia. This will be done on the 25th of March, 2025. E, private members' motions. The following private members' motions will be considered by Honorable C. Kangombe. The subject matter for presentation, create incentives for local startup companies. Date of presentation, 26 March 2025. Honorable C. Kangombe again. Subject matter, facilitate the amendment of the Local Government Act to provide for the payment of allowances to members of the Ward Development Committee. It will be presented on 26th March 2025. F, subject for debate on the motion of adjournment. The following subject for debate on the motion of adjournment will be debated. It will be moved by no other than C. Kangombe again. The issue addressed the challenges of the delays in the payment of local contractors and suppliers by mining companies. Date of consideration, 26 March 2025. Bills. Honorable ministers will present bills if there will be any. H, reports on international conferences. Reports on international conferences will be considered if there will be any. Parliamentary committee reports. Name of committee, National Economy, Trade and Labor Matters. The subject matter, international agreement on the ratification of membership of the Africa 50 Fund, Articles of Association for Project Development and Finance, for consideration on the 25th of March 2025. J, questions. Honorable members will respond to 32 questions for oral and written answer. The questions are contained in Appendix 1 of this statement, which will be circulated to all honorable members. Further, the details of the questions are contained in the notices of questions of 13th September 2024 and 5th March 2025, which have already been circulated to honorable members. K, questions on standby. The questions on standby to replace questions that may not be placed on the order paper on the designated day due to unforeseen circumstances are contained in Appendix 2, which will be circulated to all honorable members. 1, suspension of standing orders. Her Honor the Vice President will move a motion to suspend relevant standing orders on Thursday, 27th March 2025, to enable the House sit from 9 hours on Friday, 20th March 2025, until all the business on the order paper is concluded, and thereafter adjourn sine die. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the House Business Committee and in accordance with Standing Order 44 of the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders 2024, I have the pleasure to present the business for next week to this August House. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. We now move to urgent matters without notice. The Honorable Member for Lunte.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much. I raise a matter directed at the Minister of Education. In his absence, the leader of government business in the House can take note and hopefully confer or even deal with. Madam Speaker, the students at the University of Zambia who are on bursary are having to suffer to validation of matriculation in the loan scheme by the same government which matriculated them. Madam Speaker, right now, as I'm speaking, students are not attending class. They are lining up in order to validate a matriculation already achieved, Madam. It is the same Ministry of Education which listed them. It is the same Ministry of Education which gave them those bursaries. But instead of these children going to class to learn, like others are doing, those who are paying for themselves, they have been told to go and line up in order for this process to be verified by the same ministry. Madam Speaker, why should children be treated like that? Is the Minister of Education in order to subject UNZA students who are on bursary to this inhuman treatment? Madam, I seek your serious direction on the matter because it is important for government to become serious about the educational quality that they are tendering to the children. Madam Speaker, I seek your direction on the matter.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask the Minister of Education to come to the House on Wednesday, just to update the nation on what is happening regarding the bursaries for those students and what is happening. The students are supposed to be in lectures or attending to lectures, but they are busy lining up, trying to solve that matter. The Honorable Member for Kanchibia.
Madam Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. I'm a bearer of the message from their four Royal Highnesses from Kanchibia, Senior Chief Kopa, Chief Luchembe, Chief Kopa, Chief Kabinga, and Chief Umpepo. My matter is directed to the Minister of Education, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we appreciate the move by government to employ teachers, and Kanchibia has been one of the beneficiaries. Madam Speaker, as of yesterday, when the enrollment were announced, those who've been assigned to Kanchibia, we were shocked to find that the number 15 of those assigned to Kanchibia, only about 3 are resident from Kanchibia, and the rest are not from Kanchibia. We have about 50 teachers on database, and their Royal Highnesses seek clarification from the Minister of Education as to what methodology was used by the ministry or the Teaching Service Commission in only picking 3 out of the window that has been opened up for the people of Kanchibia. And this skill is resident within Kanchibia. Madam Speaker, we are mindful of the need for us to embrace the One Zambia, One Nation spirit, but we also believe that when opportunities open up, especially in new districts like Kanchibia, first priority must be given to those who are within Kanchibia before opportunities can be extended to those who are coming outside Kanchibia. Madam Speaker, I seek your guidance on this matter.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kanchibia, I would advise him maybe to go and seek clarification from the Minister of Education, simply because I heard there was an announcement talking about another list of replacement coming up. So maybe it's better to wait for that list, which we are told in 2 weeks' time. But as you are waiting for that list, please go and engage with the Minister of Education. I wanted to pick the Honorable Member for Mulobezi. What has gone? The Honorable Member for Mulobezi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Hello, I'm using my discretion. Please take your seat. Take your seat. Take your seat, Honorable Member. The Honorable Member from Lovezi, we want to hear your voice today.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. My question is similar to Kanchivia. It's directed at the Minister of Education, but since he's not here around, maybe the leader of government business. Yesterday, the results came out, and only 2 people have been picked from the constituents. And right now, the youth are mobilizing to demonstrate because most of the people who have been sent there are going to be sent there, coming from different districts. And so far, 72 teachers were transferred from Rovez to another areas, and we can't recruit, but it's still getting paid from Rovezi. So just wanted to find out what criteria is being used to recruit these teachers. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think my response is still the same. Like I advised the Honorable Member for Kanchivia, just because there was an announcement of a second list that is for replacements, where we are going to see new teachers being recruited. So I thought it would be important that we wait for that list, but meanwhile, you can engage with the Honorable Minister of Education, so that maybe on that replacement list, you have many of your teachers being recruited for that district. Okay, thank you. We can make progress. Questions for oral answer understanding order number 80. The Honorable Member for Magoye.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. On behalf of the good people in Munenga, Mwanajingwara area, question number 267.
The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Member of Parliament for Magoye, Honorable Mwemba, is asking the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation, A, whether the government has any plans to construct a dam at Magoye River, on Magoye River in Mwanachingwala Chiefdom in Magoye Parliamentary constituency. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. C, at what cost the project will be done. And D, if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, in response to the question by Honorable Mwemba, I wish to inform members of this House that government currently has no immediate plans to construct a dam on the Magoye River in Mwanachingwala Chiefdom, Magoye Parliamentary constituency. In B, as stated, there are no immediate plans indeed to construct a dam on the Magoye River at this time. Since there are no immediate plans to construct a dam on the river, we do not have an estimated cost. D, government, Madam Speaker, remains committed to addressing water security challenges across the country, and in Magoye, the Ministry, in collaboration with cooperating partners, is implementing various initiatives to mitigate the negative effects of climate change on water security, with a strong focus on the catchment restoration and protection rather than dam construction. One such initiative is the Magoye River Catchment Restoration and Protection Plan, which aims to rehabilitate the ecological integrity of the river. This plan seeks to address environmental degradation caused by uncoordinated and unsustainable human activities, ensuring the long-term sustainability of water sources. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Magoye.
Madam Speaker, thank you, and I really appreciate, Honorable Minister, for your answer. I just want to find out from you, Honorable Minister, are there any plans to review or reassess the need for a dam in Mwanajingwara area in the future, based on the fact that, Honorable Minister, this area has a lot of pasture, and there is a lot of water that is passing through Magoe River into Kafue Flats. And the people around that area, they are housing over 45,000 heads of cattle, and they are in dire need of this very important commodity, water. Honorable Minister, I seek your answer. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Indeed, we are doing an evaluation in that area, and just to assure Honorable Malambo that government has plans to do, I think as announced earlier, 60 dams across the length and breadth of the country. What we are basically doing in Magoe is prioritizing reforestation, catchment restoration, and improved water management practices to enhance water availability and security in a sustainable manner instead of constructing a dam immediately. These interventions promote ecosystem conservation, equitable water allocation, and resilience of vital water sources, ultimately supporting socio-economic development. Furthermore, Madam Speaker, government continues to invest in the maintenance and rehabilitation of existing dams across the country. In Magoe constituency, particularly in Mwanachingwala chiefdom, a total of 10 dams have been maintained. The ministry, through its provincial and district water development officers, remain actively involved in ensuring the sustainability of these water infrastructure projects. I must also add, the Honorable Malambo, for your comfort, sir, that what I'm talking about are immediate plans. In the next 1 to 2 to 3 years, we do not have these plans. But in the 4th year, as to our plan, Magoe is standing very strongly because we need quite a large dam on that river. So be assured, the people of Magoe must be assured that a dam will surely be constructed. But we are not stopping at this. Please, let's assure our people that the existing dams will be rehabilitated. Further, Madam Speaker, Honorable Malambo comes from an area where there is a lot of cattle and farming activities. What we are trying to do in that area is to see that we can enhance the conveying of this water to points of need, meaning conveying systems to where our people can irrigate, conveying systems to where the animals can have access to this water. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Momba.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Honorable Minister, the question from the Honorable Member of Parliament for Magoe was as to whether you have any future plans to construct a dam in Mwanachingwala along the Magoe River. And you started very well by saying that you are doing an evaluation. And then after that, you went on to indicate other interventions, that which you are doing currently. My interest is, from the other interventions indicated, it looks like, in fact, the evaluation we are doing is not for the construction of the dam. So for the comfort of the people of Mwanachingwala and myself, can you be categorical whether the evaluation we are doing is for the construction of this very important dam in Mwanachingwala? Madam Speaker, thank you very much.
The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Yes, indeed. I think I need to clarify that point. I can state very clearly here that to construct a dam, obviously you need to do the designs, you need to do the drawings, you need to do an EIA. All of this work is being done across the length and breadth of the country, Mwanachingwala included. What we are talking about is immediate plans to start construction works. The work to prepare to start laying to start casting that concrete and doing all the compaction, earthworks and whatever, is the work I was saying may not start immediately. What we are trying to do across the length and breadth of the country is to come up with the designs, is to come up with bankable projects, those which will be able to fund. So for Magoe, for Mwanachingwala, let me assure you again that that work is ongoing as we speak right now. Our people must be assured that we are working in the background to prepare to start constructing these dams. What I was talking about are the immediate times to start constructing, because I cannot assure our people in Mwanachingwala that maybe tomorrow or the other day we'll start constructing. But the background work to prepare to start constructing is there. We have, I think a few weeks back, we announced our master plan for water harvesting, and there are thousands of dams which are there. We will prioritize them. We understand that area is quite dry. We understand the need for these dams. Please, the people of, our good people of Mwanachingwara, our people of Magoye, we are preparing to construct that dam in the next few years. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The last member, the honorable member for Pemba.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to ask a follow-up question to the Honorable Minister of Water. Honorable Minister, the intervention that you have indicated in the long run, those are very good to construct the dams. But in the short term, would you, Honorable Minister, looking at their need of water in this area where we have quite a number of animals, of course they also move quite long distances to the point where we have dams. Would you consider providing them with water schemes in these areas where we have quite a number of animals? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
I think the Member of Parliament for Pemba brings another angle which I should have said myself. Thank you, sir, for reminding us. Yes, indeed. A dam structure is an expensive structure. A dam structure requires investigations, designs, and all these things, and it takes time. But we have immediate measures. In that area, we have a couple of dams which we have rehabilitated. Now, on the specific issue of water schemes, we are also looking at where the need is. So maybe I would invite my brother, Honorable Mwemba, to visit us so that we can see where the dire need is and come up with a specific intervention for that area. We'll also give you more information about what we are doing on our journey towards constructing that dam. Let me appeal to all the other members of Parliament that government is doing everything possible to ensure that the dreams of our government, the pronouncements made by President Hakainde Hichilema to ensure there's food security, energy security, water security through water harvesting is realized. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
I will allow the Honorable Member for Magoye.
Honorable Minister, thank you very much. We'll definitely visit your office very soon. Actually, even on Monday, I'll be there, so that we can take advantage of your answer. My question, Honorable Minister, amongst the 60 dams that you want to construct in the country, where is Magoye sitting, particularly Mwanachingwara area? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for that question, but yes, to be specific where it's sitting, I may not have that information right now, but I can assure you that it's sitting very highly. Madam Speaker, we understand the challenges in that area. Remember, some of our people in that area were people displaced during the construction of the dam. And when you look at the climatic conditions now, we're receiving less and less rainfall in that area. It's getting hotter in that area. Climate change is really affecting that area. So you are one of our top priorities, Honorable Mwemba. We should be able to give you more details when you visit the office on Monday. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Kasama Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'll begin by extending my heartfelt condolences to Mwinelu Bemba and the Bemba Royal Establishment on the passing of Prince Kanyanta, son of Chief Chitimukulu Kanyanta Mangasosala. May his soul rest in peace. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the people of Kasama Central, question number 268. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member for Kasama asked how many farming blocks were in Kasama district as of June 2024, and B, how many were operational as of the above date. Our response, Madam Speaker, is that Kasama has no farming blocks. However, Northern Province has one big farming block in Kalungwishi area in Lunte district. And for B, as in A above, there is no farm block in Kasama district, Madam Speaker. I thank you.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Kasama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Minister, for that question. Honorable Minister, given the high levels of youth unemployment, wouldn't it be of your considered view that the ministry considers having some farming blocks in Kasama so that some of the young people can find opportunities in primary production as well as agro-processing? I submit. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, probably what we could do is the Honorable Member could come to the office so that we see if there is land in Kasama which can be converted into a farm block so that the issues she has raised of farming and agro-processing can be looked at. But as at now, we haven't had that opportunity to get that piece of land. But I would like the Honorable Member to come, we discuss it. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kasama Central.
Thank you for your answer, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, you have stated that there is a farming block in Kalungwishi, which is in Lunte. I wanted to find out what the main challenges are that are affecting the full operationalization of the farming block. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, I wish to thank the Honorable Member. Let me give a comfort that the farming block is in operation. Actually, there is production right now taking place in that farm block. I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Lukasha.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, I just wanted to find out, in the absence of farming blocks in Kasama, are there any special consideration you are giving to women and youth from Kasama in the allocation of farming blocks in the areas which are near to Kasama? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I wish I would have had information on that. I could have come with it. Definitely, we do have smaller settlement areas, etc. You see, the farming block under the Ministry of Agriculture are just one of the farming areas. We have a lot of resettlement schemes under the Office of the Vice President, and as I said, if she comes and we sit down, we would look at which areas would be nearby. But yes, you are also, the Honorable Member, Madam, is also free to come. My good friend, Senior Counsel, is free to come to the office that we look at it, because I want to believe, for him to ask that question, he has got areas which he has already thought about. So it would be nice that we sit together and see what we can do. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Lubasenshi.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much. Honorable Minister, the people of Kasama, the people of Runte, the people of Luwingu are happy that you are trying to look for a piece of land. Now, as people of Northern Province, in particular Kasama, Luwingu, and other districts, we would like to know, when are you likely to start doing the feasibility studies, like which area, which district you can create a farm block, so that the people of Kasama can be comforted that indeed, maybe 2025, such a program will commence. I submit.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, what the Honorable Member is asking for has been done. And I think I've come here, I've indicated that in Lusaka, the farm block is in Shikaleta. In Buchinga, the farm block is in Honorable Kampianga's area. In Northern Province, it is in Lunte. In Kawambwa, in Luapula Province, it's in Kawambwa. In Western Province, it's in Karumange. In Southern Province, it's in Musokotwane. In Northwestern Province, it is in Solwezi. I've given these details. I am very happy to discuss any productive issue on this, so that I alert you, so that as we break, you can go and inform the constituents. These are the type of debates this country wants. I appreciate.
The Honorable Member for Chadiza.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, are there specific incentives at the Kalungwishi farming land? I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, can I get a question again? I was inserting for.
You can go ahead, Honorable.
Honorable Minister, are there any incentives at the Kalungwishi farming land? That's what we want to find out, so that those incentives that can attract more of these youths to be.
All the honorable members, let's lower our voices. The honorable minister has taken his seat. The honorable member for Chadiza, have you finished with your question?
No, I will still clarify.
Please start.
Honorable Minister, people of Chadiza, on behalf of people of Kasama, want to find out if there are any specific incentives that would attract the masses of the youths to go and do farming at the Kalungwishi farming block. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
The answer is yes, Madam Speaker. We are doing roads in these farming blocks. We are providing electricity in these farming blocks. And where we can, other social requirements are being provided by government free of charge. And to be very specific, I can give you examples. In Kawambwa, we are putting electricity. In Nansaga, we have done roads. In Shikaweta, we are doing roads. In a number of these areas, and we're also providing water. Those are the incentives, because we want everybody in Zambia to cultivate something. I thank you.
Thank you. The last member, let's stick to the question. It's for Kasama Central. The Honorable Member for Kaumwe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, the establishment of these farming blocks, they come with the services like water, electricity, roads, and so on and so forth. In your establishment, beside what you have explained, where the farming blocks are established, in your budget, do you still have room to establish other farming blocks from your budget? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
The answer, Madam Speaker, is yes. Where there is land, I think that is something which we can seriously sit and consider. However, it is important, Madam Speaker, for Zambians to know that the current land which is already cleared, what we really need to do is to improve productivity. We are getting 2 tons there. If we can get even 5, 8 tons, we would have multiplied what we are producing currently by that variable. So instead of clearing all these trees, let us try to do proper things on the land that is already cleared. We are also driving that agenda as we talk about the answer to your question. I thank you.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Mulobezi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving the good people of Mulobezi to ask question number 269.
The Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member for Mulobezi, Mr. Mavenga, to ask the Minister of Transport and Logistics a 3-part question. A, whether the government has any plans to train public service vehicle drivers in defensive driving so as to reduce road carnage. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. And lastly, in Part C, Madam Speaker, what other measures are being taken to enhance adherence to road traffic rules and regulations by public service vehicle drivers? In response to the Honourable Member's question, Madam Speaker, I wish to inform this August House as follows. A. Defensive driving is one of the key components in the training and testing of all drivers seeking a public service vehicle, PSV driver's license, conducted by RATSA. B. As stated above, all persons with PSV driver's licenses undergo defensive driving testing and training. C. In a bid to enhance adherence to rules and regulations of the road, government is undertaking the following. Number one, enhancing the number of regulations to address bad road user behavior. Government has issued various statutory instruments to influence road user behavior. These include regulations to restrict on night driving, install GPS systems, restricting driving hours of any one driver, prescribing speed limits and allowances, and introducing a demerit point system on a license, among others. Number two, enhancing enforcement by leveraging on ICTs such as the Smart City project and encouraging the installation of GPS trackers in public service motor vehicles. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Supplementary questions. The Honourable Member for Mlobezi.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, for those elaborate answers. I just want to find out where there are plans to have radio programs so that people can be sensitized, especially passengers, for overspeeding vehicles. Thank you, Honourable Minister.
The Honourable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you to the Honourable Member for that follow-up question, a very pertinent question indeed. I want to say that in RATSA's operations, they do have an education program that takes them not only to media houses such as radio stations, but are supposed to be also conducting informative programs on television, but even more so, visits to critical learning institutions such as indeed primary schools and even high schools to simply enhance this need for, observance of these road rules that are put in place to ensure that our road safety profile as a country may be improved. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honourable Member for Chitambo.
I'm grateful, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Zambia is part of the SADC region. And Honourable Minister, you agree with me that if you go to some states in the SADC region, you will discover that police that patrol roads, sometimes they've got weeks that they just sensitize people. They would stop vehicles, give them flyers, educate them more about road safety and awareness. I don't see this happening in Zambia. When are you introducing this system in our country so that we can see an advancement in terms of sensitization on the road other than just impounding our vehicles? Thank you.
The Honourable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you to the Honourable Member for Chitambo for that very good question. I want to agree that yes, indeed, in certain jurisdictions, our friends have reached such a level that there is cooperation between law enforcement officers and indeed, drivers. I think that such a situation arises when you have reached a level of self-regulation. I think that we need to do a lot as a country to encourage people to be able to behave properly, even when there is no law enforcement officers. There is a lot of impunity, Madam Speaker, with which our people sometimes conduct themselves. The one
sure deterrent is whenever they see an enforcement officer. So there's got to be a lot that we must do to entrench road safety rules observance in our people, and that is why I made mention that we must start from the school system all the way up to these driving schools and what sort of curriculum they are using to impart this very, very important knowledge that is going to ultimately save lives. I think that when you reach such a level of cordiality between enforcement officers and the drivers, then you know that you're getting somewhere. You don't want, as sometimes we observe in our country, that as soon as you have passed a stage where there is law enforcement that are checking on speed limits, you will have reduced your speed to 100. No sooner have you passed them, you push it all the way up to 180. I think that that is extremely reckless and it must be discouraged. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honourable Member for Mulobezi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honourable Minister, I just wondered whether there are plans to distribute the highway code, especially in rural areas, because there's, like Mulobezi, I've never seen a highway code there. Thank you.
The Honourable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you to the Honourable Member for Mulobezi once again for that follow-up question. I do want to state, Madam Speaker, for the record, that that is indeed what would be an ideal situation, but for the scarcity of resources, I think that we ought to be able not only to distribute the highway code in the rural areas, but also make them available in local languages. And I think that as soon as the fiscus is able to allow, this is definitely the direction that will be moving. Madam Speaker, thank you.
The last member, the Honourable Member for Shiwangandu.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and I want to commend the Honourable MP for Mulobezi for bringing up that question, because, Madam Speaker, we have lost a lot of lives due to the recklessness of these public service drivers. And for us who use Great North Road, it's even worse, because we have got these East Africans with their trucks. They are indisciplined together with the bus, are the ones who are causing a lot. Every day you pass, you use Great North Road, there's either 2 or 3 RTAs. What has happened to that measure of limiting the speed on the public buses? Because we hear some operators were finding a way of beating the systems in terms of speed limits. What are you doing now? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you to the Honourable Member for Shiwangandu. That is indeed a very, very important question. And allow me, Madam Speaker, to state for the record that what we have in this country is that we do have, promulgation of a lot of laws, which unfortunately, Madam Speaker, are blatantly being disregarded. Those laws are still in place, Honourable Member, and this is what I earlier referred to, the impunity of lack of self-regulation. As long as there is no officer in sight, a driver wants to behave the way that they want to behave. The laws are there, and this is why sooner rather than later, Madam Speaker, the subject of recruitment of honorary RTIs, road traffic inspectors, is soon to be implemented so that we can beef up on the officers to be able to be deployed out there to ensure that erring drivers indeed are brought to book. And we have also heightened the need that all PSVs are equipped with GPSs, that we are able to monitor the speeds that most of these buses are being driven at. And the unfortunate part, Madam Speaker, is that when we met out punishment against these drivers, some of whom have been found to be moving as fast as 180 kilometers per hour, and that once such a license is suspended, then there's an uproar from members of the public that we're not helping our operators. This is a very, very unfortunate tendency, because we're here not to break or rather to disturb the business culture in the country, but to bring a culture that we can observe and respect safety on our roads. Safety not just for ourselves, but also for other road users. So we are going to be unrelenting to ensure that we should one day get there, that there shall be cordiality between drivers as well as law enforcement officers. Madam Speaker, allow me just to add that I'm sure all members of this August House agree with me that this country has lost a lot of lives through road traffic accidents causing fatalities, and that statistically close to about 60% of all these fatalities have been happening on the Ndola to Lusaka road. And this is why this government felt it prudent that we needed to make it a priority that this road be upgraded to a dual carriageway status, and that we all see the progress that is being made on this particular road. And we do look forward that once the road is completed, we shall be able to see a drastic reduction in the number of accidents, indeed the number of fatalities. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Chadiza.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. On behalf of the people, of the good people of Chadiza, we are asking question number 270.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member, Honorable Daka Chadiza, asked the following questions. Number one, whether the government is aware that the Tobacco Board of Zambia, TBZ, land in Chadiza parliamentary constituency has been encroached upon, and B, whether the government is aware that some squatters on the TBZ land have been selling the land, and C, if so, what measures are being taken to reclaim and protect the land from encroachment. Madam Speaker, our responses are as follows. Government has received reports that Tobacco Board of Zambia land in Chadiza has indeed been encroached upon. B, government has received reports of purported illegal land sales by some squatters who have settled on TBZ land. This is a matter of concern as the land in question was designated for tobacco development for...
Order, Honorable. Is it the ministers next to you? You may continue.
Sorry, Madam Speaker. Government has received reports of purported illegal land sales by some squatters who have settled on TBZ land. This is a matter of concern as the land in question was designated for tobacco development programs and still remains in the books of Tobacco Board of Zambia. The Minister of Agriculture, in collaboration with Tobacco Board of Zambia and other relevant authorities, including local councils, has been monitoring the situation to prevent further unauthorized land transactions. And C, Madam Speaker, government, through the Ministry of Lands, Ministry of Agriculture and law enforcement agencies have taken the following measures to reclaim and protect the land. 1, land audits and mapping. We are conducting land audits to establish the extent of encroachment and identify legitimate occupants. 2, legal and administrative actions. Engagements have been initiated with the Ministry of Lands and relevant local authorities to address the unauthorized occupations and prevent illegal land sales. This also constitutes the second phase of property valuation exercise, which recommended to ensure that titles be obtained for all viable identified land. 3, sensitization and stakeholder engagements. Government is working with local communities, traditional leaders, and local authorities to educate them on the legal status of TBZ land and discourage encroachments. This is done periodically through stakeholder meetings. regulatory and policy enforcement. TBZ, in conjunction with the Ministry of Agriculture, is strengthening its regulatory framework.
The voices are too loud at the back there. Honorable Minister, you may continue.
TBZ, in conjunction with the Ministry of Agriculture, is strengthening its regulatory framework to ensure that land designated for tobacco production remains protected for its intended purpose. And lastly, collaboration with law enforcement. Government is considering, Honorable Member, legal action where necessary to safeguard TBZ land and prevent further encroachments. The government remains committed to ensuring that the land meant for agricultural development, particularly in strategic sectors like tobacco, is utilized effectively in line with national economic objectives. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Chadiza.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Minister, we are satisfied with your responses. However, Minister, there are these caretakers that have been put on these pieces of land by the Tobacco Board of Zambia. Minister, these caretakers, do they have authority to stop government from implementing a government project like a clinic or a school? Because we have seen circumstances like in one of my wards, in Tikondani ward, where these caretakers for TBZ have stopped government from constructing a health post. So I would like to find out on behalf of the people of Chadiza whether these people have got the authority to stop government from constructing or implementing any project that they have. I submit, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, unfortunately, the answer is yes. I think if the Honorable Member would like to construct a hospital on land that belongs to the Tobacco Board of Zambia or any ministry, it is only important that the respective Member of Parliament asks that owner of the land that they use it, not those caretakers. Those who just stop you, whatever you want to do, they will just stop you and they will not compromise with you. But if you wrote to us to say you'd like to put a clinic in an area like that, surely we will be talking at that level and agree to do the right things. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chadiza, you have another question?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, I wouldn't say that they are really caretakers, but basically they are people that have been identified by the Tobacco Board of Zambia, like to take care of these pieces of land with authority from TBZ. Those are the people I'm talking about. Because normally if they were aware that we needed to write to you to get authority to do that project, they could have guided us accordingly. But to them, basically it was just completely no, that we can't do that project. I just wanted to make a comment. But the next question that I would want to ask, these very people have gone ahead to constructing private properties, including borehole drilling. So now, as a Member of Parliament on behalf of the people of Chadiza, I would like to find out that in terms of ownership, because I believe this is the state land, who owns these facilities, the housing units and the boreholes that these people have constructed or have drilled on these particular pieces of land? Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, the issue that the Honorable Member is raising is a very serious and broad problem. We had a period, the past few years, where a lot of illegal things were happening. Some form of disorderliness was going on. People were just going, find a piece of land, don't find out who owns that land, drill a borehole and build a structure. But we have instituted an audit on all the Tobacco Board of Zambia land across the country in the areas where they are operating in. And in particular, I've got all the information on Chadiza. All that you are seeing, Honorable Member, through the Speaker is illegal and wrong. And what will happen is that they will end up losing this property to the state. That was disorderly conduct which was being perpetuated in order for people to have access to land which doesn't belong to them. I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Matero.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and able Minister of Agriculture. On this land encroachment in Chadiza, your responses apply to every other part of the country. When people have already started building the belt, and yet there is that law, but specifically for Chadiza and Eastern Province, that you are the Minister of Agriculture, don't you think people encroaching in that land, it's because of hunger? As the able Minister of Agriculture, why not consider giving them that land? They start growing tobacco, fodya, they start growing maize so that they can grow food to eat, than supporting Tobacco Board of Zambia, who is an investor from outside. Don't you think, as the Agriculture Minister, you should give the people of Chadiza that land to grow fodya so that they export and make money? Madam Speaker, submit.
What is for the honorable member?
Honorable Mpundu says it's Dobo. I don't know what Dobo is. No, it's cigarettes for Ngoni people that they export, and it's called Dobo, I'm told. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, first of all, I think let's put things in order. Tobacco Board of Zambia is 100% government of Zambia institution. It's not a foreign entity. That's number one. Number two, illegality which was being allowed should be stopped and we do things properly. You are not going to have people finding a piece of land and then they just encroach and start building, and because we want to promote food production, we allow them to do that. Then our country, Madam Speaker, will become lawless and it will be a chaotic situation. We need to start doing things properly. Unfortunately, this was allowed during a time when the Honorable Member was a minister and he knows what he's talking about. And also, he's taking this cousinship very far away to claim that we Ngonis or the Ngoni people are growing a certain type of tobacco for export. You'll be in a lot of trouble, Honorable Samba. Huh? And you, don't look down. Yes, you. So, Madam Speaker, Kasongo always looking for trouble, including this morning. Huh? So, Madam Speaker, on a serious note, we will do the right things and take care of the very important issues that the Honourable Member for Chadiza has raised. I wish not to dilute it with a light position. This is a serious issue. The land has been encroached everywhere. Eastern, Southern, Lusaka, Western, Central, North, everywhere. Land is being encroached by lawlessness, especially the past 10 years. So we'll correct it. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Kasama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, tobacco farming causes quite a lot of environmental degradation. So does the government have any plans to possibly convert the Chadiza TBZ land into a farming block that can grow some climate-smart crops? I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me take this position to educate our Honorable Member for Kasama. Tobacco is not only dangerous when you consume it, but it also, and this is very important, it also disturbs your soil chemistry. Once you plant tobacco, you need at least 5 years or so for that soil to neutralize, for it to cultivate adequately maize. And this is important for Honorable Sampa to know. You do not plant tobacco and the following year you put maize. Your maize production will be very poor, very, very poor. So be careful. We, at the Ministry of Agriculture, are promoting the production of tobacco. What is in question is the consumption of tobacco. I thank you.
Next question, the Honorable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 271.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Mr. Chingamyutu, the Honorable MP for Kalabo Central, is asking the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development at A, how many recognized chiefs were in Western Province as of December 2024? At B, he wishes to know how many chiefs, if any, were not recognized as of December 2024. At C, he wishes to know why the chiefs at C were not recognized. And finally, at D, whether chiefs are paid a salary. In response to the question raised by Mr. Miyutu, the MP for Kalabo, allow me, Madam Speaker, to inform this August House as follows, that at A, we have 11 chiefs, namely the Litunga Lamboela at 2, Mboyanjikana, which is currently vacant, Chief Imwiku, Chief Lukama, Chief Yeta, Chief Kandala, which is vacant, Chief Namayula is also vacant, Chief Chiengele is also vacant, Chief Kahare at 10 is also vacant, and last but not least, Chief Mutondo. There were 5 vacant thrones in Western Province as of December 2024. 4 of them were awaiting traditional processes of selection and installation, while 1 is under litigation before the court of law. At B, Madam Speaker, as of December 2024, all the 11 chiefs were recognized. And as stated at B above, all of them were recognized. At D, chiefs are not paid salaries, but paid subsidies to help them maintain the status of the office of the chief as provided for under Section 8 of the Chiefs Act, Cap 287 of the laws of Zambia. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Before I take supplementary questions, I have an announcement. Honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Betha School in Monze District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our visitors in our midst. Thank you so much. You can sit down.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for that good response. Honorable Minister, I would like to get clarification. Yes. There's the current situation is that maybe related to our NRCs, the issuance of our NRCs, it shows particular chiefs. Those chiefs are designated to those areas where we are residents. But I've observed that these chiefs, despite owning or reigning over those locations, they are not subjected to those allowances. What could be the main reason why, despite being mandating or reigning over those locations where even the government has allowed that they become rulers so that we even get the NRCs, but they are not accorded a space on the allowance side. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And thank you, Honorable Member of Parliament, for Kalabo Central. How I wish you could have given me an example of the chief who exists on the NRC and yet is not given a subsidy. My suspicion is that the chiefs in question, and there are many in this country, Madam Speaker, and I want to submit that the question the MP is asking me is extremely sensitive because it sits at the heart of the 1958 recognized chiefdoms. As you know, we have had several administrations in this country, starting from Dr. Kenneth David Kaunda to our 7th President, President Hakainde Hichilema. There are many chiefs, more than 286 in this country, but those who are on the Gazette are only 286. And as such, the status quo remains as how we found it. The example I can give you from the top of my head would be the Chief Kangombe, or maybe Chief Mwene Mundu. I'm sure that's where you are stemming from, because Mwene Mundu is from Kalabo. And just to show you that I have a fair understanding of what's going on. Yes, the NRC may bear the names of those chiefs that are not on the Gazette, because that's how the status quo was found, and we are not about to change it.
The Honorable Member for Kalabo Central, you have a question? The Honorable Member for Luena.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, in responding to the Honorable Member for Kalabo, you indicated that you wish you knew of any chiefs who are actually on the NRCs, but nonetheless are not recognized when it comes to allowances. Indeed, we have a situation like that in Western Province, and there are many. Just in Luena constituents, I have Chief Siveta, Chief Mokanelamo, Chief Luvindatanga, Chief Lukama, and many others. And these chiefs are duly recognized by the Barroso Royal Establishment, and they carry out all the functions that actually a chief should carry out. But unfortunately, they are not gazetted. So it creates this huge mismatch where the government recognizes them for NRC purposes, but doesn't recognize them when it comes to them getting some support in form of the same support that those that are gazetted are getting. Is the government going to consider revisiting the decisions or the selection of chiefs to be gazetted and those not to be gazetted? Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you very much once again. I think the colleague and friend has just made a navigation to ask the same question that his colleague asked me. And in my answer, I was very clear that as at now, we are not about to take that route. Whilst recognizing the important functions that the chiefs play, I can tell you, Honorable Member of Parliament for Luena, that your situation in Luena constituency is not different from mine. Where I come from, we have under the big chiefdom of Mwana Chibwala. And under there we had chiefs like Chief Siowi, who are there by name, but are not gazetted. There are many such chiefs, and we don't want to open a can of worms by taking a route that our predecessors clearly put aside. And I would like to make a request that in my maiden answer, I did indicate how sensitive this question is. And because it is not in my style to offend we are fully aware about the existence of chiefdoms that are not on the government gazette. We are fully aware, and we give them the respect that they deserve. And because we do not want to reinvent the wheel, for now, Honorable MP for Luena, the status quo remains as we found it from our forefathers who left before us. Thank you very much.
The last member, the Honorable Member for Nalolo.
Madam Speaker, I thank you most sincerely, and I would like to thank the Honorable Minister for being honest that this remains a sensitive issue. However, Honorable Minister, for Western Province, we have a different traditional system, which you are very aware of. Are you aware that if you maintain this and just say we can't open a can of worms, it continues to be an outstanding potential issue which can escalate? So, if you are aware, what future plans do you have? Because as area members of parliament, we are experiencing this every now and then. So this issue which can escalate any time to the detriment of the unity of this country, do you have plans to normalize this legacy issue? Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
My neighbor is saying, may God give you wisdom. Thank you for your prayers. Honorable MP for Nalolo, there is a lot of consternation, especially in the Western Province, regarding the whole entire establishment. And it's a subject that I'm not scared to discuss, but I must always attach the sensitivity that comes alongside the same subject. And so you are asking me, this situation may escalate if left unchecked. I wish to just respond by saying there have been governments before this particular government. The one thing that this government did that many governments were a little bit shy to do was to officially produce the 1958 maps. We produced and shared officially the 1958 maps, which many governments were extremely shy to do. And I can tell you now, brother and friend, that upon release of that particular document, there was consternation, there was escalation of the boundaries and existences of these chiefdoms, to the extent that in certain cases, the palace of one chief was to be found in the land of another chief. What that calls for is leadership, to be able to understand that there were people before us. There were living people, warm bodies before us, and that these chiefdom maps were by law established by colonialists. They are the ones who produced them. But those who have institutional memory, like the chiefs in Southern Province, which I will give as an example, know very well that despite the palace of the chief Muchila, if I am correct, to be found in the chiefdom of Chief Chikanta, they are civil enough to say to each other, we know the boundaries, and we respect the boundaries as established by those who established this, not the colonialists. The colonialists, a friend, came in the same manner they sat at Berlin Conference. At Berlin Conference, that's where they demarcated Africa. Am I right? After they demarcated Africa, then there were topographic features that they followed. For example, for the Tonga people like me, if you ask the MP for Sinazongwe, the MP for Gwembe, they'll tell you that the boundary, which is the Zambezi River, and now when they established the Kariba Dam, it split families. The Tongas are across in Binga, in Zimbabwe, and the Tongas are across here. And so it is similar to what happened in Berlin, the issue of the chiefdom maps. But it requires a civil society, a society that is civil, not a civil society as you may know it in the current day, to be able to say, okay, the palace for Chief Chongo, another example I can give you, half of it is in Chief Hamsonde's chiefdom, according to the 1958 maps. And so my advice to our Royal Highness is to say, let us just be civil around it, and we'll be good together. The issue about escalating the sensitivities of these chiefdoms, especially in Western Province, I beg that we make it a subject for a different day. And to confirm to you that you yourself, as a matter of fact, who asked me that question, no. I was confronted with this question by the Gambela sitting at the Kuta in Limulunga, and we spent a lot of time to explain government position regarding the Nkoya chiefs, regarding the Lozi, the Mbundas, who you all know, those of you who come from Western Province, that there are deep sensitivities around there. So we will navigate with the cooperation of everyone so that we can have peaceful coexistence. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The clerk will now read the order of the day.
Thanks. The President's address, motion of 4th March 2025, resumption of debate.
When the House adjourned yesterday, Thursday, 20th March 2025, the House was considering the motion moved by the Honorable Member for Kanchiwia that the thanks of this Assembly be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in the President's address. Any further debate? The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure.
Madam Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to add my voice to the many members of this august House that have paid glowing tribute to the speech by Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, on the progress made in the application of national values and principles delivered to this House on Friday, 28 February 2025. The President was articulate in outlining the successes scored by the nation since the last address in 2024. The President has ably covered national values and principles enshrined in our Republican Constitution, namely morality and ethics, patriotism and national unity, democracy and constitutionalism, human dignity, equity, social justice, equality and non-discrimination, good governance and integrity and sustainable development. Madam Speaker, the President and the entire New Dawn administration holds dearly these national values and principles. And as government, we continue to advocate to our people, including our colleagues on your left, the importance of living by these values and the principles. The President has always preached national unity, rule of law, equity and social justice. He has gone further by governing using these principles. Madam Speaker, the country approaches the 2026 general elections. I support the President's call for adherence to these values and principles by all our people. This will guarantee peace and unity in the country. The President in his speech pointed to how our values of resilience, hard work and unity were tested in 2024 when we faced the harshest drought in living memory. The impact of this calamity was deeply felt across the sectors of our economy, particularly in agriculture, energy, and water supply. The declaration of national disaster by the President and the nation's response was anchored on our very values and principles of patriotism, national unity, human dignity, equity, equality, and non-discrimination. The country responded to the President's declaration, and together we averted loss of life. The nation's response to the disaster reached every corner of this country, urban and rural areas. Inclusive jobs were protected, livelihoods were sustained. Madam Speaker, improving the welfare of our youth is core to the President's vision of a better Zambia. That is why he is focused on growing the economy in order to sustain the provisions of free education and other social services for our people, including creating jobs and business opportunities for the youth and women. President Hakainde Hichilema believes in creating a productive society where hard work is cherished much more than ill-gotten wealth, a society where its citizens prosper legally and not through corruption, theft of public resources, abuse of office, or other fraudulent means. These vices must be frowned upon. They are against our values as a nation. Madam Speaker, to safeguard public resources in the implementation of infrastructure projects, the President has, in line with our values and principles, guided that all works must be procured at the correct price, delivered to prescribed quality, and within specified time. This directive has contributed to increased transparency, zero tolerance to corruption, and attainment of value for money in the implementation of infrastructure projects by the New Dawn administration. Madam Speaker, patriotism and national unity are fundamental in building a cohesive society. President Hakainde Hichilema has given national unity top priority, despite the many detractors who want this country to remain divided for their own selfish reasons. As I conclude, Madam Speaker, I wish to reiterate my ministry's commitment to supporting government and the country in the implementation of our national values and principles. To this effect, Madam Speaker, my ministry will ensure that infrastructure development is equitably delivered to all parts of this country without discrimination. My ministry will ensure that job opportunities are created for all Zambians on infrastructure projects, regardless of one's gender, age, or other factors, such as who you voted for. Unlike our predecessors, who took development only to those areas that perceived supported them, we are taking development, infrastructure development, to all corners of this country. Madam Speaker, our national values and principles can be sustained when we develop the necessary infrastructure to support economic activity, grow our economy, create opportunities for our people, and raise their living standards. Improved livelihoods through construction of decent and affordable housing will give our people the dignity they so much seek and make it easier for them to appreciate these important values and principles that we have adopted for ourselves. Madam Speaker, I once again thank you for this opportunity and convey my favorable recommendations to the President's speech. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
One Jackie.
Madam Speaker, I'm grateful to be allowed to contribute to the speech of the President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia and Commander-in-Chief of Defense Forces, which was delivered on 28 February 2025 on the progress made in the application of our national values and principles. Madam Speaker, before I proceed, I want to state that this House is a house of values and principles. Madam Speaker, we on your right have noted with concern that our colleagues on your left are not adhering to the values and principles of the House and of the nation. They made allegations and demanded answers from us. But before we could make and give the answers, they have walked out. What values do they have and principles, Madam Speaker? None. Madam Speaker, the President's address reaffirmed Zambia's commitment to its constitutional values, fostering national unity, social justice, and a more prosperous future. The President emphasized transparency, accountability, and addressing pressing issues like child marriages, teenage pregnancies, and gender-based violence. Madam Speaker, over the years, the country has witnessed an alarming rise in the abuse of cyberspace, which has led in many instances to the tarnishing of personalities, loss of property, and ruining of people's lives, to mention but a few. If this is not curtailed, Madam Speaker, it has the potential to disrupt economic development. We are making strides to address cybercrimes and abuse of cyberspace by working towards strengthening the legal framework governing cyberspace. We have since brought the cybercrimes and cybersecurity bills before this House to seek support to enact the laws to curb the abuse of the cyber environment. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, some of the perpetrators of cyber crimes in this country are being aided and abetted by leaders in this House. It is very unfortunate. I call upon my colleagues to desist from that practice. Cyber crimes have destroyed lives, as I have indicated. A number of our colleagues here and outside have been targeted and have been abused. And money have been lost in the cause of these cyber crimes. Madam Speaker, gender-based violence has continued to be a great source of concern despite noticeable efforts aimed at reducing it. In 2024, we had reported 42,178 cases of cyber crimes. In 2023, the number was 42,965. There has been a slight reduction, but still, the numbers of gender-based violence in this country are still too high. To ensure that fight against GBV yields more positive results, we have strengthened collaboration and coordination with its stakeholders, including traditional leaders and civil society organizations. We have incorporated the GBV in the Zambia Police Service curriculum to ensure that all police officers acquire skills to manage them, to professionally deal with the GBV cases and assist GBV survivors. Madam Speaker, Drug and substance abuse is another source of concern for our communities, particularly for the youths in 2024. The Drug Enforcement Commission received 5,148 drug and substance abuse reports, out of which 4,269 were investigated and concluded. The Commission busted 85 cartels involved in local and international drug trafficking. The Commission has continued to implement sensitization and counseling services to help drug-dependent persons. In 2024, the Commission conducted 3,355 drug awareness activities and provided counseling services to 1,227 persons, 469 of whom were successfully reintegrated in school and their respective families as indicated. Madam Speaker, the protection of both private and public property is a priority for the New Dawn administration. During under consideration, the Zambia Police Service recorded 233 cases of vandalism in which property worth $2,362,091 was lost. Out of these cases, 173 cases were successfully investigated. Madam Speaker, thanks to the policies of the New Dawn government, our citizens and all members of the public, including civil service organizations, can now associate and express freely their opinions without fear of victimization. Dignity has been restored in our places such as bus stations and markets. One can now walk into these places without fear of being intimidated by anyone anymore. For many years, we yearned for this, but it is now a reality. We have strengthened the Police Public Complaints Commission alongside establishing functional integrity committees. Ensure oversight is provided over the conduct of police officers and other law enforcement officers. Madam Speaker, our correctional facilities have continued to transform the lives of our people and who find themselves on the other side of the law. We have continued to implement efforts to reduce congestion in the facilities. As part of our efforts to decongest our facilities and accord inmates more humane custody, we are completing the construction of 6 dormitories with a holding capacity of 1,600 inmates at Nansanga in Serenje, and the construction of a 1,850 capacity ultra-modern facility in Mwembeshi, and are opening up new open-air correctional facilities. Madam Speaker, I have noted the comments that have been made by members of the public on the issue of the intended constitutional amendments. Madam Speaker, I have been in this House for almost a quarter a decade as Member of Parliament here. And I have participated in a number of constitutional reviews. And one of the major issues that has always been raised by members of the public and all the commissions of inquiry pertaining to constitutional review, in all the commissions, one matter was coming out very prominent: women representation in this House. We, as the UPND government, have committed ourselves to ensuring that we up women representation in this House. Alas, we have heard voices telling us that we should not amend the Constitution. We should wait until after 2026. Please take note. If we wait until 2026, I'm speaking to you ladies who are representing our fellow citizens out there, that if you wait for after 2026 elections, we will continue having few women in this house until 2031.
Order, Honorable Minister, please wind up.
That is a fact.
Your time is up. You can wind up.
Yes, Madam Speaker. I know the Honorable Member of Parliament for Rundazi is Deputy Secretary General of PF. The women want proper representation on the floor of this house. And I call upon all women to stand up and demand that we amend the Constitution so that there is a higher representation on the floor of this house. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Order. As the time is 10:40 hours, I suspend business for 20 minutes.
Business has been suspended for 20 minutes, so we expect it to continue at 11 hours. And at that time that business was being suspended, the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security had just concluded contributing to debate on the motion of thanks, a motion that was moved on 4th March 2025 by Kanchiria Member of Parliament, Mr. Sunday Chanda, that the thanks of this assembly be recorded for the exposition of public policy. We expect debates on this particular motion to continue at 11 hours.
Exactly. Just we take a look at some of the business that has been considered from the time business commenced at 09 hours. We did have some announcements, and in the first announcement, Madam First Deputy Speaker recognized the presence in the public gallery of councillors from Kafue Town Council in Kafue District. Madam First Deputy Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, warmly welcomed the visitors to the National Assembly. And in the second announcement, Madam First Deputy Speaker recognized the presence in the public gallery of visitors from Standing Up for the Boy Child Initiative Zambia in Lusaka District. Madam First Deputy Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, warmly welcomed the visitors to the National Assembly.
Okay, and then there were two other groups that were recognized in the public gallery, and those were some visitors from Reformed Church of Zambia in Lusaka District, and teachers and pupils from Bertha's School in Monze District. So, Madam Speaker, as usual, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, welcome to the visitors to the National Assembly of Zambia.
Indeed, and we did see the presentation of the business statement for the period 25th to 28th March 2025. The House also considered some urgent matters without notice, and thereafter they did consider 5 questions for oral answer under Standing Order 80. And just now, we take a break. Keep watching Parliament Television.
Emmanuel Banda. I was born in 1978 on 10th of July in the University Teaching Hospital just here in Lusaka. And at the age of 7 years, my parents relocated to the village which is in Eastern Province. By then it used to be Petauke District, now Sinda. I come from Chiefness Nyanje area of Sinda District, and both my parents are from the same chiefdom. So I started school in 1984 at Mtema Primary School, just next to Nyanje Hospital. And then I went to Katema Primary School, where I did my primary education up to 1991, when I wrote my grade 7 exams, and then went back to Nyanje Basic School by then for grade 8, and I had to be transferred, or rather I requested for a transfer to go to Chasa Basic School, where I did my grade 9 and I wrote the exam. 1994, I was selected to go for grade 10 at Petauke Secondary School, and that's where I basically did my senior level education up to 96 when I wrote my grade 12 exams. In 1997, I came to Lusaka to look for something that I could do, and I was unfortunate that I couldn't manage to either pursue my education further. And I ended up being a minibus conductor, and I was a minibus conductor to say from 1997, 98, 99, and 2000 probably. I started driving in 2000, and I became a minibus driver, driving for one of the local companies within Lusaka. And that's when I married, actually my first wife, and then I married her from Siavonga. That was in 2000, and I worked as a minibus driver from 2000 up to 2003, when the person I was working for appreciated my hard work by offering me the same minibus. Actually, by then it was a loan, and I got that minibus. I bought another one, until I had about 5. Around 2004, 2005, I tried to work as a truck driver, the undertaking which did not take me long, because I thought the environment was not conducive for me, especially that I was running my small business. So I had to come back, and in 2007, somewhere 2008 in February, the same gentleman who had employed me earlier as a minibus driver also employed me as a tipper truck driver. And whilst working with him, I worked from Sinazeze, I worked from Kafue, Katua, that business of supplying sand. So in 2011, again, the same gentleman decided to appreciate me now in a different way, because the first appreciation was like a loan, but this time it was a gift. He offered me the same truck that I was driving for him, and he gave it to me for free. Like, I've appreciated the way you have worked with me and things like that. So I became a truck owner. And it was whilst using that truck that I met a certain white man who hired me, who hired my truck, which I was driving to go and do some business in Serenje. And that's how I ended up in Serenje. That was in 2014, on 17th April, when I went to Serenje. And then I started doing of transporting until in 2015, after the death of President Sata, then I saw a chance of going into politics. Of course, I joined politics through UPND, and I worked with the UPND party up to 2016 when I first contested as their candidate, Parliamentary. I lost. Of course, I was new that time, and the place where I just went for business. I continued working hard with the people there, as I took it that my family are those that were always close to me. And in 2021, during the adoptions, I was left and I had to decide, and I went as an independent until I ended up here as a member of parliament. My constituency is a vast constituency, and it's a rural constituency. Yeah, it has got 12 wards, and 2 of the 12 wards are in the valley, that's Chisomo and Kavansa. And my constituency is, being a rural constituency, I can say that the most activity there is farming. And we have a bit of mining also taking place, but mostly it's about agriculture. My developmental agenda, mostly, I want to focus on roads so that the constituency is properly linked. Yeah, I want to develop the roads so that farmers can easily transport their farm produce to the markets, and also to attract other investors who can invest in farming, and even to come and offer market for our farm produce. As you know, usually FRA doesn't buy everything. But when the roads are bad, then the prices are always, reduced by those who comes to buy as private buyers. So I want to make sure that the roads are done so that even those who come and buy as private buyers should always give our people a good price. And then I'm also looking at the education system. You know, we have areas where people has to cover maybe up to 10-15 kilometers just to find the nearest primary school. And most of our schools as well were built around 1947 up to maybe 1964, somewhere there. And they are very dilapidated. So we need to renovate all those old schools. We need to put up more school infrastructure and a lot of staff houses, because most of the staff houses also, they are dilapidated, and most of our teachers have got nowhere to stay, as it is that the only solution now is to squat. In most cases, they stay maybe some 2, 3, 4 kilometers away from the school premises, and that makes it very expensive for them to commute on a daily basis, going to teach and coming back. Yeah. Then I'm also looking at the healthy system. You know, I can take opportunity. I can take this as an opportunity even to make an appeal to government that Muchinga is in Serenje district, but Muchinga is big, and being a bigger constituency in the rural, it has got areas that are very far from the central business town of Serenje. We need to have at least 2 mini hospitals with ambulances that can be servicing our people. And those should be at Chivale. We need to have a hospital there. If not Chivale, we can have one at Nchimishi. And we also need to have another one, Muzamani, that is on the eastern part. Because the Muzamani one can be accessed by people from the valley in Kavansa, people from Masase, and people from Nakalengule. These are far-flung areas from the Serenje town. You know, the one that could be at Nchimishi, people of Kapeshi, Mukopa, Chisomo, and Kaseva, Sancha, all those people can access the one at Nchimishi. So I'm also looking at that angle from the government side, but we are not just sitting, we are planning and we are doing a lot of healthy, you know, facilities in form of these simple health posts. And we also want to make sure that we provide accommodation for those that will come and work in these structures, facilities that we are trying to put up. Under the CDF, we also have got a plan to procure maybe 2 ambulances in these 5 years. One to be based on the western part of the constituency, that is in Chivale, and the other one to be based on the eastern part of the constituency, just like the way I want the hospitals to be constructed. This is going to ease the movements for our expecting mothers, who in most cases have ended up losing lives because of moving long distances to access healthy facilities in Serenje. So basically, considering the works in my constituency, those are my priorities. Though I have other priorities. As you know, that being a rural constituency, most of our people are poor, in short. So we are looking at how we can uplift their living standards. And this comes to when we talk of empowerment schemes. I've taken it upon myself that I should have a lot of cooperatives and clubs registered, so that people are able to access these grants that we are offering, and also whatever government might be offering. You know, government has got a lot of things that they are offering, especially for the youths and the mothers. So we are doing all our best. We are doing everything that we can to make sure that our people, you know, are united by way of belonging to clubs and cooperatives. Bantu aba Muchinga constituency, not Muchinga province, kuserenje. Therefore, yokuba koseresha okutirati tintu bombere pamo. Tintu ishi bokutirati abantu n'obuteeko nga babombera pamo ero tukwato obuyantanshi. Nga twalolesha fya tubuteeko wakula tupera obuyantanshi takuleko twalaya nifwe babalashalira. Iringi obuyantanshi tukwata mu rural areas mulandu wakwe bati abantu limbi balalolesha fyo ubuteko wakulatupera kuli bali abakwata kwishuko yakusenda mafisipu tiye ntuwombeshe pakwe bati ushikwe ubuteko kalanda timwe namusumuka nomba tamwakulasenda fisipu tatwakairishanye pantu nishinatuipangira fwe bene ndalama shakwatwakulashita mufundo pakwe bati abanesu bali abashiresenda kunomba na bena bakesesangako inchende yakwe bati batampa kokusendako ama fertilizers so ichi chonse kuti chabombwa nga chakwe bati abantu twaikatana pamo ero twatampa kushita appreciate fyo ubuteko bulechita pali ino nchita yakushita efficacy ama politics yawe ino nchita yakubomba intungulushi ni wange omwafumine mukusala intungulushi bakansela ba MP ba mayor ba president bapere nchita babombe ishibe nukushita ingenji intungulushi shenu nganeo MP wenu mulatuma amafoni ndasuka eko mulemfu aya ndesa ngana aisatye ntulanchanye fyabu yantanshi notu tampu kulanda ukutuka na ngufisa na fisa ulubuli tawatwale kuli konse nombanga twaikatana fye pamupako ati tuwombe ifindi fyalale tubu yantanshi twaika twabika puno buteko tiye ntumone okutira ati twachita support ubuteko wesu twachita support intungulushi yesu ero apo nomba twalamu na buya ntanshi ubusuma ukwisa umikalire.
Breathtaking and thrilling. Visit Livingston City for pure adrenaline and fun. Let its thrills and spills inspire you. Livingston features arguably the best sunset views in the world. Memorable game viewing adventures in the small but well-stocked Mosi-otunya National Park, where you can see the rare white rhino. Experience the best of Zambia's rich culture and history at the Livingston Museum. Or through visual and performing arts, food and folklore at the Bonfire by Night. And to crown them all, the awesome, majestic, mighty Victoria Falls, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, known in local language as Mosi-otunya, the smoke that thunders. A visit to Livingston is incomplete if it does not include this world-famous icon. Some call it Zambia, but we call it home. One Zambia, one destination, limitless exploring. Zambia, let's explore.
Watching Parliament TV, and we indeed appreciate your viewership. The House is currently on a 20-minute health break. We do expect business to continue at 11 hours. And just a quick reminder that at the time business was being suspended, the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Honorable Jack Mwimbo, had just concluded his debate on the motion of thanks, a motion that was moved by Kanchivia Member of Parliament. This is a motion of thanks the President's address, a motion that was moved on 4th March 2025 by Kanchivia Member of Parliament, Mr. Sande Chanda, that the thanks of this Assembly be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in the President's address. So we expect a debate on this particular motion to continue at 11 hours when business continues. This is Parliament TV, and indeed we appreciate your viewership, and of course we are dedicated to bringing Parliament closer to you.
Indeed, and we must make mention that the Minister of Infrastructure, Honorable Charles Milupi, MP, has also added his voice to the motion of thanks. And so far the House has considered 5 questions for oral answer, understanding Order 80. Muta, possibly we can look at some of the questions that have been tackled.
Okay, so one of the questions that was posed on the floor of the House is question 267, a question that was posed by Magoya Member of Parliament, that's Mr. Malambo. He wanted to find out from the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation whether the government had any plans to construct a dam on Magoya River in Mwanajingwala Chiefdom in Magoya Parliamentary Constituency. If so, when the plans will be implemented and what the cost of the project is. He further wanted to know if there are no such plans, why. So in responding to this, the Honourable Minister did indicate that government does not have immediate plans to construct a dam on Magoya River in Wanachingwala Chiefdom in Magoya Parliamentary constituency, and thus there are no estimated costs because the plans are not there. So this was the answer that was given by the minister. And then the other question that was posed was by Kasama Central Member of Parliament, Ms. Siwongile Mwamba, who directed her question to the Minister of Agriculture, and she wanted to know how many farming blocks there are in Kasama district as of June 2024, and of them, how many are operational. So the response basically was that there is no farming block in Kasama district, but the minister did indicate Northern Province has a farming block in Kalungushi area that's in Lunte district. This was a response that was given to that very important question posed by Kasama Central Member of Parliament, Ms. Wangile Mwamba.
Exactly, and we also had question 269, which was asked by Mr. Raphael Mavenga, who's Mulabezi. Just now, we take you to the floor of the House. As we broadcast them to you live. Right now the bells are still ringing. We're waiting for a quorum to be constituted. After that, business is expected to continue. Just to mention that the House is considering the motion of thanks, the President's address, a motion that was moved on 4th March 2025 by Kanchiria Member of Parliament, Mr. Sunday Chanda. And at the time business was suspended, the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Honorable Jack Mwimbu, had just concluded his contribution to this very important debate. We do expect the House to continue deliberating on this very important motion.
Order. When business was suspended, the House was considering the motion moved by the Honorable Member for Kanchiria that the thanks of this Assembly be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in the President's address, and the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security had just finished debating. Any further debate? The Honorable Minister of Justice. And Honorable Jamba is acting in a role as the government whip for today.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you and indeed your office for giving me this opportunity to add the voice of Ministry of Justice in thanking the President of this Republic of Zambia for the statement that he gave, or the speech that he delivered to this august House